Mic check, mic check. Welcome back to another episode of the Second Half Podcast. We got another great episode coming your way. Before we get started, be sure to hit that like, follow, and subscribe. Now we get into the conversation. We got none other than 10-year NFL vet, spent 6 years with the Carolina Panthers, drafted third in the 2006 draft, which is crazy to think about. Then also, he's 16th in the world in the longest drive competition. None other than James Anderson. James, man, appreciate you jumping on the podcast.
Absolutely, Jabari. I appreciate the invite, brother.
Yes, sir. Yes, sir. Well, let's go ahead and get it started off, man. Where did the journey begin for you? Where are you from?
So I'm from Chesapeake, Virginia. You grew up in that area that's synonymous with athletes. You look at Allen Iverson, Michael Vick, Alonzo Mourning, D'Angelo Hall, like Mike Smith,
Yeah.
Cam Chancellor, Percy Harvin. I mean, we can go
You got
on.
names. You got names.
Look, the Upton brothers. We can go on sport by sport, and you'll be hard pressed to find a state that
I
can
love
rival
it.
the area I came from, bro. I mean, literally, we
That's
had three
real.
guys from my neighborhood that went to the NFL, played 10 years or longer. So
That's crazy.
that's kind of, that's kind of the makers of where I'm from. That competition, that swamp water, whatever you want to call it.
Yep.
From there, went to Virginia Tech, played there. Like you said, got drafted in the third round by the Panthers, and we're off to the races.
Absolutely. So take me back a little bit. Early on, growing up in Virginia, like you said, that swamp water out there in VA. Like, who was the one that kind of introduced you to football?
Well, I started playing when I was young, bro. Like I started at 8 years old playing Pop Warner.
Okay. Yep.
And a lot of people don't even realize I got cut both years in middle school, so didn't play school sports until I was in high school.
Oh
And it's funny
wow.
story. My middle school coach like, "Hey man, I'm so sorry." I was like, "Listen, man, you had to go with what you had at the time. I was a late bloomer. It happened." So grew up playing ball, played basketball. My dad played ball at A&T, so he was always a big influence from the basketball standpoint. Ran
Nice.
track, kind of just stay active in all sports. Played soccer, which is really good for your
Yeah.
feet. And then I
Absolutely.
just realized that I love football and I had a knack for being able to play that sport well. And being 6'3" didn't really allow me to play swing man on a basketball court. So that kind of killed that dream.
They killed that dream real quick. That's like, look, man, you got the height
Yeah.
ish, but we could use you over here. It's funny you mentioned that. Like, clearly, you played multiple sports growing up. Soccer being one of them. Like, people don't realize how much that sport transition works well on your feet, kind of gets you going in all different areas, even more so than, basketball does. But I think soccer just helps with that footwork because that's the main focus, getting to and from, side to side, lateral, all of that good stuff.
Yeah, man, this whole new age of kids specializing in one sport from a young age, I really think that does that child a disservice because I learned
Agreed.
in basketball, I learned how to shuffle and use my hips and stay with a good base. In soccer, I learned how to use my feet and
Facts.
be nimble on your feet, right? Track, you learn speed. So you learn all these various things from different sports that you learn in a competitive manner to learn how to apply it to your main sport. So
Yep.
I've always been a proponent of, let the kids do different sports to learn different things and
Yep.
figure out what they like.
I love that. I love it. So obviously you playing well, basketball, football, track, all the sports. When did you realize that football was the one? Obviously, we knew size had a little bit to play in that decision, but when did you realize, hey, football, hey, I got some game out here?
Well, it wasn't so my junior in high school, we went to a football camp at Virginia Tech, and I ended up committing to take my junior year in high school. A lot of people say that's early, but for me, it was
I'm
one
about
of
to
those things
say
where
real quick.
no, bro, listen, this was 2000, 2001. So in those days, you didn't have NIL. We didn't have
Yep.
all this transferring school to school and all this back and forth. It
Yeah.
was once you committed and you went and said, "Hey, this is where I'm going," that's where you were going, even
Yeah.
before a letter of
Yeah.
intent. So they offered me a scholarship. I knew that I was going to have a free education, worst case scenario. So I kind of chose to stick with my commitment.
Yeah. So you started off playing linebacker, obviously 6'3". Were you always linebacker, or did you move around a little bit?
So funny story, getting to college, I actually went in as an athlete. I ended up playing linebacker my freshman year.
Okay.
And most people don't know this story, but my freshman year, the starter got hurt and I was the backup. Freshman,
Okay.
now I'm that guy. I'm a big man on campus starting as a freshman, right? I'm that guy.
Yeah.
So
Yeah.
we ended up playing. I started for 4 games my freshman year. The first 3 games, I'm balling. Like you can't tell me. I think I'm him, right? I'm that
Yep.
guy.
Yep. Yep.
Then the fourth game, we play against Syracuse. Right after the limit nab, kind of in those years, and they ran what's called a double pull scheme. So both
Okay.
guards went in different directions. And in this particular scheme, it's very important that you know where to look. You know where your keys are, right?
Mm,
And coming from high school, we played a 4-4. We didn't play 4-3, so we didn't have a traditional defensive setup. So coming,
yep.
this is my first year really playing linebacker, learning how to do it, playing against an offense that's that complex. Bro, I was a fish out of water, man. I'm talking about like it's like I
Yeah.
never played football before. All of the accolades, all of the big boat I got on my shoulder, all that gone. Like one game
Just
killed it.
done.
Done,
Dang.
bro. So I ended up getting benched, right?
Yep.
So I had a
Of
bad
course,
game.
freshman. Sit down.
Obviously, they ripped me a new one, right? The coaches really they can't coach you nowadays like they did back then. If
Oh
you could
yeah.
hear some of the things that were said, like it's bad, bro. Like I got ripped. Okay,
That's the stuff
happens.
that's missing, though. You know what I mean? Like that's missing in the game. That's why everyone's so soft now when we watch it
Yeah,
out there. Like you
listen.
can't take any adversity.
No, here's the thing, bro. And I realized this, and I was talking to people, and when you're coming up and your coach is hard on you, that means they care about you. They care
They
about your
care about you.
development. They want to see you get better. When they stop coaching you, that's a really bad sign. So now to be in a day and age when a coach really can't get on you, every time you get your feelings hurt, you transferring. If you don't play enough time, you're transferring. You're looking for the next money. It's like these coaches aren't allowed to mold you, to teach you, to coach you, to help you mature and grow. Because for me, yes, I got benched. Yes, I got demoted. Yes, they moved from linebacker to safety because they said you ain't no linebacker, you got to play
Oh
safety.
wow.
And
They
they
were
put me, bro, look, they put me to a whole different position and they put
wow.
me fourth string on a depth chart
You
from
was two
starter
at the linebacker starting.
to
You know what I'm
fourth
saying?
string,
You
bro.
interchanging it, and they said, "Hey man, go ahead and go learn something different."
Fourth string, bro. So
Wow.
at that point, I had a decision to make. I see it through? Do I dig it out? Do I toughen up and face this adversity and keep moving? Or do I go home? So, I have a really good relationship with my father. I call my dad. I say, hey man, I'm coming home. What you want to do? He said, no, you're not. Figure it out.
Mm. Mm.
He said, you committed, you made a commitment,
Yep.
they're paying for your school, figure it out. So end up the next year I was special team player of the year. The next year I
Yep.
split time. The next year I started. The next year I got drafted.
Mm.
And, I told my coordinator he has a charity event, Bud Foster. I went and did his event. I said, hey, coach, thank you. He said, what for? I said, because that adversity I went through in college allowed me to learn how to deal with adversity and to grow into the player that got me eventually to the league. If that
Yeah.
wouldn't have happened, I don't know if I would grow from a maturity standpoint and learn how to handle
Yeah.
adversity standpoint to be able to handle the high pressure and high stress of playing professional football. Like that's what these kids are missing out on the ability to deal with and progress through adversity. We're taking that
Yep.
away from them, right?
Yep.
We're making it a participation sport. Oh, good job. You showed up, put your jersey on, let's give you a trophy. Listen, bro, I don't know how true it is, but there's schools around here that don't have cuts for your football team. Everybody makes the
Jeez.
team.
Everybody makes a team. Everybody get a participation ribbon at the
Okay,
end of the year.
so
Everybody.
so okay, so work with
Wow.
me here. So if everybody made the team, I remember in high school, the most stressful day in your life as a ball player was cut day. When they put that sheet up
Yeah.
on the door
That
with
she
your
go on the
name up
door.
there. Right. You put
Hey,
the
that
shit on
was
the
your first
door.
experience with the anxiety ever. You like,
Right.
hey,
Listen, bro,
I need
I still
something.
got PTSD. Just
Right.
worry about that sheet, right? I was a
Yep.
starter, so I know it's gonna make it, but you're still nervous, right?
Yeah. Yeah.
So
Yeah.
the excitement you felt from feeling like you earned a spot on a team
Yeah.
was one side of it, right? If you didn't see your name on that list, you had a decision to make. Am I willing to go and better myself to potentially make the team next year, or is this sport just not for me?
For me.
Right? So what we've done in essence is we've taken away that fulfillment of accomplishing and earning a spot on the team,
Yep.
right? And we took away that child or that young man's or that young woman's ability to make a decision to decide whether that sport was for them or not. They may be in a
Mm.
sport that they don't like or love just because they made the team because we don't make cuts. It's that I think that's bad for
That's
business,
tough.
bro. Like
That's bad. Exactly. It's bad for the game. It's bad for all
it's
sports.
you're creating an environment where kids are not encouraged to fight and perfect and get better and work to be the best because we just allow you to be on the team if you show up. I think that's building the I some people may disagree from a psychological standpoint, but I really feel like
A lot of kid out
you're
there.
doing kids a disservice by not helping them feel like they earned a spot. The spots were just
Yeah.
given.
Yep.
So, that's just that's coming from I come from a different era. You know how they say back in the day, oh, you back in my day. I come from the back in my day now. I'm to that point in life. But I feel like you see the mentality of the kids today from the standpoint of everything is given if you're a good
Uh-oh.
athlete, right? Everything is kind of almost handed to you.
You mentioned something just in regards to how now student athletes, or really, if you want to say semi-pro athletes at this point in time, they're challenged not only just on the field, like it's less and less of a challenge because you can't really coach them. Knowing what you know now, would NIL would have played a bigger part in your decision to commit to Virginia Tech?
I want to say yes and no. Um, I don't know what star I would have been given coming out of high school. Obviously,
Mm,
I was an All American, but coming from my area, not sure what that would have played into it. I think,
yep.
I think as I come from a grounded family, so I felt like the money wouldn't have been the number one decision maker. It would have been like, okay, what university is going to put you in the best position to succeed, right? Where are you going to
Yep.
go and be able to progress the most? And what, from a football standpoint, what scheme, what team, what conference allows you to best display your skills, right?
Yeah.
Because you look at
Yep.
these kids now that are going from team to team or school to school, and to some degree, you're losing out on your ability to show what you do best on the field because you're going to a school that pays you money, but their scheme doesn't dictate or doesn't show off what you do well. And,
Yeah.
that transfers to the league because in the league, the particular scheme you play in can almost make or break your career. Like you'll see
Mm,
guys go from like even though in basketball, certain teams, if you're a post up big man and you get on a run and gun team that's fat, that's full
right.
court, that's fast press, that's not really what you want to be in. They may pay you money,
Exactly.
but it may shorten your career because now you get exposed not being able to do something because that's not what your
Yep.
strong suit is.
Yep.
So I feel like, NIL playing a part in a decision, absolutely. But I think it wouldn't be the main decision maker. It would be a part of a conglomerate of what's going to put me in the best position, not only from an educational standpoint, but
Yeah.
from an athletic standpoint.
Absolutely. I know you made that decision very early on in your high school career to actually attend Virginia Tech, and obviously in high school, when you and D'Angelo Hall when y'all at the same high school.
D'Angelo Hall, Daryl Tapp. I mean, we had a bunch of bro,
Like,
man, look, we
y'all
went
had some
33 and
dogs
3 in
out
high
there just out
school.
of high
Should have won
school.
like 3 state
Yeah,
championships, but
man, that's crazy.
yeah.
Nice, nice. Now, obviously, Virginia Tech being right there in your backyard, what would you have? Were there any other schools that were knocking at your door? Because obviously, during that time, you didn't really have the transfer portal, obviously, like that. If you transfer, you had to sit out, X amount of years or whatever. So, for you, did you have anyone knocking at your door before or even after you made that verbal commitment to say, actually, we'll go ahead and bring you over this way at all?
Yeah, I mean, I talked to other schools, Maryland, Duke, local schools. I actually had a bunch of Ivy League schools. Believe it or not, I was a nerd, man. I was one of those smart guys.
You
3.9
got to be a
GPA.
smart. You got to be smart to be at the linebacker position. You got to know
Hey,
everything.
most people don't understand that. They think they don't know about the linebacker, but we got to
Everybody
be
think it's the
the
quarterback, right?
right. We're the quarterbacks of the defense. We're the captains. We kind of have to be the guys
Yep.
that bark out all the calls, do most of the communication. So I was, approached by a bunch of Ivy League schools as well. And from an educational standpoint, those schools are premium. That's a
Yeah.
premium there.
Yeah.
But from a football standpoint, not so much.
Yeah. Yeah. Yeah.
Nah, we gonna
Ye-
put not so much.
Yeah.
So um so yeah, I was approached by different schools. I had offers from other universities, but ultimately, once I committed to Tech, it was never I never kind of wavered from that decision.
Love it. Love it. Something that speaks to loyalty and just who people are. You know, when they make a decision to stick with it, that makes so much sense down the road. You know what I mean?
I don't know. This me.
Are you there? Oh, there we go. Okay, I'll go back and edit it.
Okay.
Um, no, we good. So tell me this. Obviously, you guys are thriving. Virginia Tech, y'all all over the TV screen, always on ESPN. I remember watching you guys quite a bit. Then all of a sudden, it's that opportunity. You know, you're getting closer and closer to your senior year. What was that kind of journey like for you, just knowing that the next step for you was going to be the NFL, those aspirations? What was that journey for you as you went into your junior to senior year?
Yeah, I think that transition for me wasn't as clear cut or black and white as most of the times it is for guys that go to the league. I didn't have agents start approaching me until the end of my junior year.
Mm,
I was more of a late bloom guy. I didn't start really at safety to my redshirt junior year. So having that learning curve or having that late bloom part of my career, I didn't even know I was going to had a chance at the league to my redshirt junior year. So that
yeah,
wasn't even a
yeah,
thought. I was just trying to be the best I could be. Obviously, always having the dream to progress or the dream to make it to the league, but also understanding that, statistically speaking, that's like 0.01% of the guys that actually make it,
yep, yep,
right? And I
yep,
think we don't really talk about the reality of the game as much as we should to let these kids know that, listen, bro, there are only, what, 200, 300 some guys drafted? And there are thousands of seniors every year that look for that opportunity. So you're
yep,
not counted a failure if you don't make it, right?
right,
That's
yep,
just that wasn't a part of your story. So I think that we have to allow kids to understand that your education is important, like your path into life, what you want to do is important outside of just being an athlete, because oftentimes we attach our how we view ourselves and we attach who we are to what we do. And once we are no longer able to do that thing, we're now lost trying to figure out who we are again.
yep, yep. No, you're spot on. So many people get lost into that space, but like that's the only thing that they're chasing, and then they don't know who they are as a person
Right.
once they get to that, or met at a wall where they got to make a decision. It's like, do I continue on or do I not? So those are so many different things that we'll definitely get into as we kind of bridge into that second half real quick. Before we actually jump into that, let's talk about, because like you said, you were a late bloomer. You were finally starting to get a few different agents knocking on your door, but I don't know how you became a late bloomer and still become third pick overall in the 2006 draft.
Well,
That's a hell of a
I was
transition.
no, I was drafted in the third round. So I think I was
I'm sorry,
actually,
third round.
yeah, I was an 88th overall pick. But like, bro, like I played,
Still, that's high.
yeah, man. I can't say nothing but God, brother. To be honest with you, like
Yeah,
that was
yeah,
just, you were blessed with tools and abilities, and it's your job to go and sharpen them, to go and groom them, to go and work hard and kind of make the best of it, right? So I was the guy, anybody tell you, I was the guy in the weight room, like I broke strength records. Like
yep.
they gave me a sword when I left Virginia Tech because I was the first guy in school history to get a strength award 3 years in a row, right? So
Wow.
like
Yep,
I was that I'm gonna figure out how to outwork everybody and figure out what I
yep.
need to do. Right? All I need to do is like once I know what to do, you're gonna be hard pressed to find somebody to work harder than me. And that was my deal. I was gonna go outwork you, and I was gonna go put in the work and learn everything I could about whatever the situation was, and I was gonna figure it out.
I love that. The hard, like having that discipline to be able to go in and go work. Not everybody has that, but you need that in order to stay, not only just go to the league, but stay in the league as you did.
Absolutely. You're Your talent gets you through the door, but your discipline and how you carry yourself will keep you there. Like you said, man, it's a lot more to it than being able to talk.
Yeah, absolutely. Now let me ask you this: do you have anyone that you could who was a mentor for you, who could help you adjust and transition into the NFL? Because you obviously come in as a rookie, you get drafted right down the street, you're going to Carolina Panthers. Did you have someone to kind of help you adjust into that space?
Yeah, so I was blessed, man, because going to the Panthers, I had a bunch of veteran guys that took me under their wings. Like I still have guys to this day that call me, "Hey, Rook, come over here." Like Chris Draft was man, I just saw Chris Draft. We just had alumni weekend here for the Panthers. I want to say a week or two ago, and I saw Drafty, and the first thing he said is like, "Hey, that's my Rook right there. Come here, Rook." Bro, I've been out the league for 10 years, and you still calling me your rookie? But
Still Rook,
it was
still
guys
Rook.
like that, Chris Draft, Dan Morgan, Musa Muhammad, Andre Davis, my older brother Willie Powell. Like all these guys poured into me. Like Moose taught me how to be a pro, like showing up early, getting in the weight room, drafting them, showed me how to study film. Like Dan Morgan was the GM for the Panthers. Now he showed me what it's like to learn and deal with success and failure on the field. So they
Mm.
teach you all these things, and they took me under the wing, man. And then just being surrounded by guys like, bro, I played with Pep, Steve Smith.
All right, there you go. Yeah, we still good. Man, that's awesome. Dang, I ain't never had this. Man, I ain't never had this
Man,
many
some don't want
times.
this conversation to happen, Bo.
I'm about to say, like, come on now.
Because
We hopefully we
I
can.
had to move. Once I got service back, I said, man, let me sit in this one spot. Then make sure we
Yeah,
good.
right. We gonna be good. We gonna make it work. We gonna make it work.
Absolutely.
No, but so obviously you moving into this, you got all these vets. You stayed with the Panthers for 6 years. You guys went through a little turmoil, but then you guys started to click and get some things on the road for yourself. What was that journey like, stepping into that space and really being one of the main ones on that field on the defensive side of the ball?
I'll tell you, I'll be honest with you, bro. It wasn't easy.
Yeah,
Because like you said, I moved to safety in college. And we played a non-traditional defense. So my position, I was like a monster safety. I roamed. I was outside of tight end. I was on the slot. I wasn't in a traditional location. So
yeah,
now
yeah.
coming to the Panthers, I had to relearn how to play linebacker. And imagine trying to relearn how to do a position when you're competing against the best guys in the world.
I'm about to say
Like,
you're not. This isn't just any old team playing out there. Like you
no,
playing against the best of the best, the ones and twos in the world.
right. This is the best players in the world, and I had.
It still got you connected.
All right, so my first few years in the
Yep.
Panthers, bro, it was a lot of learning. Like
Yeah.
understanding how in depth the playbook was, understanding how much it took to actually play the game from a mental standpoint. Not only learning all those things, but then learning how to do them without thinking. Oxymoron, right? So you have to be able to understand your job, understand what's going on from a schematic standpoint, and then you have to be able to do it quickly without thinking. So I had to
Yeah.
learn how
Yeah.
to do all these things. So that took me a while, and I even faced some times when like I was pretty much told, like, "Hey, bro, if you don't go ball out this game, your career is over here in Carolina. Let's go figure it
Oh
out."
wow. Yeah. Yeah.
So,
You
but,
you
but
you got on that horse
fortunately,
quick
man,
then.
hey, bro, you better go out there, and I'm telling you, when you go to that field tonight, you better let it. I don't care if you mess up, you better mess up 100 miles an hour.
Exactly.
Yeah, man. So that was a part of the journey, but I think all that is what kind of went into making me who I was as a player and preparing
Yeah,
me to eventually be one of the leaders.
yeah. I mean, it's something I saw a stat somewhere that said, bro, you had a 20 tackle game against the Giants. Oh, you hear me? Jay, you still there?
How you going in and out?
All right. Can you hear me now?
You back?
Hopefully you can hear me now. Yeah, can you hear me?
Yeah, I can hear you now. So you say you saw a stat that said what now?
Yeah, I saw a stat that said that you had a 20 tackle game against the Giants. It was something. It was a crazy stat that it was. Again, this is off the NFL website, so I looked at that and I was like, bro, you had 20 tackles in one game.
Yeah, bro. I mean, there was a time before Luke Kuechly came and re-broke all my records where I was the franchise leader in tackles in the game, and I had a year where I had 175 tackles in the season.
Bro, that's crazy. You was just balling out. You was just going.
Listen, I tell people all the time, bro. It's like I didn't get 175 tackles because I was always in the right spot. I was able to amass that amount of tackles because I ran to the ball. Like
Mm.
every person ain't gonna make every tackle. Missed tackles
Yep.
happen, mistakes happen, you know. So if you give effort and you run to the ball, good things happen.
Yep. I got you. And somebody who you just mentioned, like you played with Luke Kuechly. I think he got drafted that last year that you were there
Yep,
with Carolina. I think that was the same year. It was Luke Kuechly and Cam Newton, and then you also had Julius Peppers. You
yep.
had D'Angelo. Like you had guys on that team. What was it like to start to see the pieces start to come together at that time?
Man, I'll never forget. Like we had a year where we went 12-4, undefeated at home, and
Yep.
every single week the defense went to dinner. So guys developed a relationship. They developed a trust. Like I'll never forget on the field, it was me and John Beeson starting at the time because I think TD had just got hurt again or something, and we were
Okay.
playing, and we had got to know each other so well on the field to where he'd be like, "AJ, bro, I'm tired, I'm blowed. Hey, trade with me on this play." So
Yep.
coach be watching
Yep.
film. He'd be like, "Yo, why you running the middle?" I said, "Me and B swapped because he was tired, or I got hit or something. I was hurt. And like we would cover each other's backs because we knew each other that well." And I
Yep.
think
Yep.
I'll tell you, like, scheme plays a huge role in it, getting players plays a huge role in it. But the most important factor of what translates to being a good team is the guys trusting each other and knowing each other. They got to spend time
Oh,
together. So we
absolutely.
went 12-4, and we had one of the best defensive league because guys like you took time away from their families, from their lives to come and donate and put time into each other.
Yep. Yep. No, you spot on. The best teams that I've ever been on that have gone the furthest, whether high school, collegiate, or pro, those are the ones that we kicked it after practice. We was in the weight room before practice together. Everybody, family knew everybody. Like that was just the vibe, and that was a connection and relationship that we all had with one another. And so it just translated onto the field, which made the most sense for everybody. And so we started to see the wins and everything else come about it. So those are the things that are so important that people don't realize. You got to have that connection with the team. You got to go out to dinner. You got to go have drinks. You got to show up to birthday parties and show up to family events, because those are the things that help you just develop and show up and just have that relationship and connection on field that you automatically clicking. Oh, all right, you there? I hear you.
Oh yeah, I'm here.
Okay. All right, cool. Let's go ahead and transition. Actually, before we even get to the transition, not only this, you end up getting traded, or I'm sorry, not traded. You picked up a contract with the Chicago Bears, which is ironic because it seemed like there was such a relationship then with so many guys coming from the Carolina Panthers and then coming to Chicago. You had yourself, you had Greg Olson. You know what I mean? Like you had Julius Peppers. You had so many guys that was just like, okay, we all coming to Chicago now. And then on top of that, not only you was the one who was able to wear Mike Singletary's jersey, hadn't been worn since he was on the field.
You know what's even crazier about that, bro? The Panthers sent Ricky Manning to the Bears, and they received a draft pick. And the pick they received from the Bears, they drafted me with.
Wow.
So the pick
Wow.
the Panthers got from the Bears, they used to draft me, and then full circle, I ended up going to play for the Bears after the
Going
Panthers.
to play for the Bears. Wow. Wow.
Yeah, full circle
Crazy
moment, bro.
moment.
Yeah,
Yeah, yeah. Well, you definitely played with some of the guys, you know, the Israel Adonajays who played on the field. You had
yeah.
who Lance Briggs was out there. Like
Breaksy.
that defensive core that we had, you know, I'm a big Chicago Bears fan. You know, those guys, we see each other all the time. Like that it was just a strong connection that you guys had out there on the field.
Yeah, bro. I mean, to wear my Secretary's jersey, to feel like those those footsteps I had to feel, but then to have guys like Briggs and stuff to learn from and to play with and to play beside, man, Briggs is a whole different guy, bro. Like that,
Yeah.
he's a whole different dude. Like you would look at him like, yo, how can this dude move so fast? Like, how is he so quick?
Man.
But it
Yeah.
probably from an instinct, from a linebacker position, instinct, he probably one of the best I've played with from an instinct standpoint. Just being able to sniff things out. And people say, that's how Luke Kuechly ended up being once he, kind of got into his own. But Breaks is that guy, man.
Man, I love it. I love it. So you spent 6 years in Carolina. You had a year or two with the Bears, but you spent 10 years total. You moved around. What was that kind of journey on the back half of your career? Because, like you said, the average of any NFL player is what, 2-3 years. You were able to
Yeah.
extend that into 10 years. So, what was that journey like for you as you kind of bounced around after Carolina?
Yeah, usually as you see trends, guys either bounce around early or they bounce around late. And,
Yeah.
bounce around late kind of sucks because I had 1 year where I played for 4 different organizations in the same year. So you're
Wow.
talking about moving
Yeah.
apartments, getting settled in,
Yeah.
getting fired, moving apartments, getting like I got
Yeah.
in front of the store, I got cut from the Falcons on Christmas Eve. And the head coach
Wow.
was like, Mike Smith was like, man, I don't really want to cut you. We need a roster spot. It's a bad situation, but we'll still give you a paycheck for this week. Merry Christmas.
Oh wow! Hey man, I'll take it if that's what it is. I
Right.
got to get that game check and we good. We gonna move on from
That's
there.
it. Yeah, but that's
Man,
what everybody that plays in the league knows that's a part of the game. Like it's
yeah.
not seeing your name on the sheet of paper anymore, but when you see that Grim Reaper walk around, he come to the locker room, he coming to get somebody.
You coming to get that playbook real quick? Like,
Yeah,
hey man, appreciate you. Thanks for your service. No
exactly.
man. So tell me this. So let's go ahead and get into your second half, right? You made the decision to go ahead and take the cleats off for the last time. What was that kind of that experience for you going through that transition?
Well, I find that most guys fall in one of two camps when they walk away from the game, right? Majority of the time you see guys either camp number one is I haven't really made enough money. I got to
Yep.
go into life from being an athlete, being kind of on a pedestal. Like, what is that? What is that transition like, right? The second camp you find is most guys are like, listen, man, I made enough money. I just don't know what to do. Like, I what do you do now? Like, I've played my
Yep.
whole life. But then
Yep.
there was a third camp that is either made money or not made money, but they know exactly what they want to do, right?
Yeah.
So I was one of those guys where I was smart with my money. I didn't have to run out and get a job or do anything. And to be quite honest with you, the way my body feels, a lot of times I don't even know if I could work a job if I had to.
Wow.
To be quite
Yeah.
honest
Yeah.
with you,
Yep.
like some
Yep.
days, like I get in the bed and my 4-year-old comes in the bed. I'm like, all right, man, I really don't want to go move right now, but okay, come on.
Yep.
Um,
Yep.
but for me, it was, what do we do now? more so from the standpoint of I have to compete at something. Like if it's not something I can compete at, then for me it almost wasn't worth doing. And I knew I
Mm.
wanted to play golf because I knew that was something. No matter how bad my body felt, as long as I can stand up, I can go putt.
Yep.
Right? As
Yep.
long as I didn't have to do it every day, but it gave me something that I could track progress and I could be competitive with myself. And that's really
Yeah.
why I went into it. And I think Brandon Marshall was saying on one of his podcasts that for him, he fell in the camp of he was smart with his money and he knew exactly what he wanted to do, right? But there was a difference of environment. So you
Mm.
come from an NFL world where everybody around you, for the most part, is trying to be great, right?
Yep.
If you aren't trying to be the best at your position, you don't last long. Like they kick you out, you gone, you fired, you don't make the team, right?
Yep.
So you go from that environment to an environment of, for a better term, just corporate America, right? Just the
Yeah.
masses, okay? Where a majority of that world is clocking in and clocking out.
Yep.
They're showing up to a job, they're doing a job, they're clocking in, they're clocking out, and they're okay with that. How do you go from an environment where the mentality is seeking greatness to an environment where it's just okay to show up from a
Yeah.
mental
Yeah.
standpoint? Like, how do you wrap your brain around one, not seeing as many zeros in your paycheck, and then
Yep.
two, that part, right? And then
Yep.
two, being surrounded by people that, for the most part, are okay just showing up to the job. It's
Yeah.
not, hey, bro, I am, assistant, I'm a tech or whatever it is. These people aren't saying I'm trying to be the best tech in my company. I'm trying to be the best assistant that ever lived. They're saying I'm just an assistant. I'm waiting till Friday so I can go live my life.
Yep. Yep.
So how do we deal with that mentality? So that was a transition I had to deal with. But for me, it was like I had to find that thing or way to get into a competitive mode again. And to be
Yeah.
honest with you, depression is real. Like you have those moments where you're like, yo, okay, something don't feel right about this.
Yeah.
Something don't sit well with this. But when I had my first daughter, that's when I kind of had to snap out and say, okay, get your life together. You got somebody that depends on you for everything.
Yeah.
So we got to go. We got to figure it out.
Yeah. I was gonna say, like, did you fall in that depressive state? Because there's so many athletes that happen to do that because you don't have that day to day. You don't wake up and you're going to have weights or you're going to lunch, you're going to any of those things, which is always a difficult challenge for people.
Yeah, I think a lot of it too is just lack of structure, right?
Yeah.
In football, during the season, every day is planned, right? Every Monday you're doing this, every Tuesday you're doing this, every Wednesday, Thursday, Friday, and your week would go off when the game was. So if you had
Yep.
a Thursday night game, then Friday was Monday,
Yep.
Saturday was Tuesday, unless you got
Yep.
days off because you won, right?
Yep.
If you
Yep.
lost, it might not be so much. Like
Exactly.
Monday
You
night,
come on
Monday
in.
night
Let's get
games,
some work
yeah,
in.
right. Monday night games might be a little bit different because they're usually so late, but Tuesday would be Monday.
Yep.
Wednesday would be Tuesday, and you would progress so forth and so on until the next game. But you knew every Wednesday was play action pass, first and 10, first and second down, run and play pass every Wednesday.
Yep. Yep.
Thursday was 2 minute and third down, right? And goal line. Friday was, into the game, special situations, those kind of things. Saturday was walkthrough. You knew
Yep.
what you did every day of the week. And when you lose that structure, at least just knowing what to do and having to figure it out for yourself, that within itself is difficult for a lot of people.
Yep. Yep. Something you're spot on there, and something that I've even realized about myself is, man, picking up those sticks, man, putting that ball down on the tee allows for you to have a space to just clear your mind and kind of have that mental clarity at times, being out there on the court, because it still allows for you to be competitive, but you're kind of at your own pace and you're out there with nature as well. So it kind of brings a sense of peace, but it can be a
Right.
frustrating one. It can be a
Oh man,
frustrating one every
golf
now.
is. Listen, bro, they say golf is a four-letter word for a reason.
Man,
It's
man,
one of those things that it'll give you some of the greatest memories, golf trips and different things with the guys and hanging out, but it'll be some of the most frustrating. Like
sure
but
will.
golf will tell you about yourself too. You keep your own score, so you learn about your integrity.
Yeah,
You
your
learn
integrity.
about hitting a good shot down the middle of the fairway, hitting a sprinkler head, and then kick it out of bounds. Like you got to deal with the good and the bad, and golf is a sport that teaches you that.
Yep, yep, absolutely. Now let me kind of go back. How did you even get into golf? Was that something you grew up kind of messing around with as a in high school and young in your youthful years, or was that something that you picked up after your career?
Actually, growing up, golf wasn't a thing. Like golf
Okay.
didn't really become a thing for us until Tiger Woods, right?
Yep. Right.
So
Right. Right.
that was when golf really became a thing for us. So I got into golf actually playing for the Panthers. Doing charity events, doing community service, and we always got invited to events, and they got us. So you got free golf, open bar, and a day on the links. I
That's a
mean,
nice
what
little
more you can
respite. You
say to an
good?
athlete, right?
Exactly. Exactly.
So, bro, we got into golf, and I realized two things right away. One, I really enjoy playing you outside of your nature. You can compete with anybody. Like on a golf course, like that's where multiple worlds can combine and be fine. Like you have
Yeah.
guys from the hood, you got guys from the C suite level, right? And if
Yep.
you can play golf, you can find a commonality between all those worlds, right?
Yeah.
That's the
Yeah.
first
Yeah.
thing I realized playing golf. The second thing I realized playing golf was that I sucked. I was terrible. Like I was real strong because I was an athlete, but everything
Yep.
was high and right and out of the way. So what happened was, is a group of us that every day in the off season we would bring two things to practice. You bring your golf clubs in a fit, or you brought your bowling ball, right?
Okay.
So in Charlotte, the weather's real finicky. One day it'll be 80, the next day it'll be 90 and then storming, right? So you never
Yep.
knew.
Yep.
So after off-season workouts, if it was nice out and guys felt good, we go play golf.
Yep.
And we're not playing for free. We playing for some, that part, okay?
Yep. Yep.
So, but if the weather was crappy, we go bowling. And we'd be in a bowling alley doing the same thing.
Same thing. Right.
Come on, bro, we bowled for hours, betting all kind of
Yep.
crazy stuff.
Yep.
But that's when I really started to want to be competitive, want to get better at the sport. I felt like that was the time in which I saw myself playing golf long term in some kind of capacity.
Yeah.
So that's kind of when it all started for me.
I love it. Now, obviously, you found a nice little niche into that space because every time I scroll on, I see some post that you done put up there at some long drive. So obviously, you still in the weight room. You still, working on a drive that might not be going to the left or the right now. You done straighten it out. So how'd you get into long drive contest?
Well, bro, like if I do anything, I want to be good at it. Like I don't want to
Yeah.
just do it, right? So after ball, I set a goal for myself to end up being some kind of competitive tour player. Now, when
Yeah.
I say tour, that doesn't necessarily mean PGA Tour on
Right.
TV. Bro, that could be you're kicking around Hooters tour. If I go win 500
Exactly.
bucks, that's good enough for me.
Exactly.
But I wanted to be competitive, right?
Yeah.
So after ball, I transitioned to golf. I go down the journey of trying to play competitive golf. And, for me, as a playing teams in the NFL, we have to navigate different things that most people don't have to navigate. Like I have to navigate, bulging discs and arthritis in my hips. And,
Yeah.
some days you get up and from a concussion standpoint, you don't really feel like doing anything.
Yeah.
So you
Yeah.
navigate those days, but the days to where I can make my body move, I found myself on the course.
Gotcha.
And, we end up getting pregnant with our oldest daughter. We moved from LA to South Florida. And then I end up playing golf with Wes Patterson, who at the time was top 20, top 25 long driver in the world. And he's like, hey, bro, like, I know you want to be a mini tour player or whatever you want to call yourself, but that's going to take you 10 to 15 years. Because although you're an athlete and although you have time, it still takes experience. It takes learning how to hit certain shots,
Yeah.
all that kind of stuff. He said, but you can compete in long drive tomorrow. Like you're an athlete, you hit the ball further than most, average people, and
Yep.
you can figure it out. Not only can you figure it out, but you can have your own market.
Oh
I
wow.
From what I understand, I'm the only player that's on the tour that played in the NFL for
Oh
any
wow.
amount of
Yeah.
time, right? And I'm also one of 4 black men that compete on the tour.
Oh wow.
Now, from a demographic, racial standpoint, and from a demographic, past athletic standpoint, I kind of have my own market, right?
Exactly. Exactly. People still know you from the playing days.
Right.
On top of that, you another black man playing, a predominantly white, well, at one point it was, 10 years ago.
Still playing
Now,
fight on a high
but
level.
yeah, on the high level. Yep. Yep. You're right.
Absolutely. So that's how I got into it, bro. And I felt like it allowed me to still train like an athlete because I still need to be
Yeah.
explosive. I still need to work out. What I learned the last 4 years and compete in long drive is I don't have the capability to swing the club fast, work hard in the gym, and travel. One of those gotta give up. I gotta
Some
be able
got
to,
to drop.
because there's gotta be some recovery time in there. And like I
Yeah.
said, bro, like I don't want to get myself from a physical standpoint to where I beat myself down so much that I can't recover.
Yeah.
So I have to be
Yeah.
really careful with how much I train. I have to be really careful with, traveling and all those kind of things. So it's a balancing act, having kids, having a family, and trying to do it's a balance, but we
Yeah.
figure out a way to make it work.
Absolutely. No, that's beautiful. And obviously being a dad, something so special about that. You know what I mean? Like just seeing the kids grow, something that you created is always, amazing to see that. So that's another feat. And of course you're part of the greatest fraternity in the world, Omega Psi Phi Fraternity
Say
Incorporated.
that, say that one more time.
One more time, right? For everybody in the back, they need to know
Yeah,
who the greatest is,
let's do that. Make sure they know.
Absolutely. Omega Psi Phi. Yes, sir.
Yes,
Nah,
sir.
man. One man, I appreciate you being on this podcast, man, sharing your wisdom and knowledge. I guess before we get out of here, let me ask you one more thing. What's next for you? Obviously, you're on the course, you're doing a long drive, family, all of those different things in your transition, and you're still early on in your transition. But like, what's next for you that you can, as you continue to do, or what are you continuing to work on?
Well, I'm trying to look at the market. I went back to Miami, got my MBA, so I'm trying to
Okay.
see from a business standpoint what I do in golf that may make me different from everybody else.
Mm,
So I've been trying to work on a golf lifestyle brand.
okay.
Tell people it's like imagine that show Ballers on HBO. What was great about that show? Everybody loved it. It showed you basically underneath the hood, showed you behind the curtains.
Yep.
It
Yep.
showed you what it was like to live the life of an athlete, to have the money, the cars, the parties, all that kind of stuff. But it
Yep.
also showed you the struggle, the family dynamic, the cutthroat of the game, like how you got to really take care of your body, the hard work it takes. So it shows you both sides, right?
Yep.
And when I look at the golf influencer space, you see a bunch of guys that do golf. Some will, some not so much. They build their personas on different reasons, right?
Yep. Yep.
But there aren't. I haven't really seen a golf influencer that's in what you would call a sports and entertainment space. Like you're not going to see a golf influencer at the Super Bowl. You won't see
Right.
golf
Nope.
influencers, at the Masters or
Yep.
SBs or those kind of events that are usually big four sport events, right? Basketball,
Yep.
football, hockey, baseball, right?
Baseball. Yep.
So I find myself in those spaces, in those places. So what I've been trying to do is leverage my NFL career alongside of what I've been able to do in the long drive space to show people to start to build a brand that shows you a baller's version of golf. Now, listen, bro, I don't have the cars and all that crazy stuff. That's
Yeah.
really my lifestyle.
Yeah.
But I can show you, like I do have film, talking trash to Jerome Bettis, or all these people that are celebrities, are big name athletes that are household names that you can't get close to. I can,
Yeah.
and we talking trash, or we playing golf, or we doing stuff like that.
There you go.
Build a golf entertainment lifestyle brand around the facet of getting brands visibility in spaces that other golfers aren't.
Yeah. No, I love it. I love it. It's so needed. This space, nobody's wanting to watch anybody play 7-on-7 and 40 years old.
Right.
It's like nobody wants to watch, 40 and 50-year-olds run around and play basketball. Like that's, although I will say it is working well for what Ice Cube is doing with, his 3-on-3, the big three basketball. But, football is different. Them quick twitch fibers and all the muscles, they ain't turning over.
Right.
they not activated. You know what I mean? So we know how it is, man. No, man, that's awesome. I love it. In any way that I could be of any support, service, whatever, man. Let's make sure we do that. I think you got a huge opportunity here in Chicago. I get out there and golf with quite a few guys, and I see the cameras out here on some of the holes and people, doing their own influencing. So, but no, that's huge. That's a huge space that you in now.
Yeah, bro. I'm gonna make sure I gotta come up to the shop, man, and
Let's get out and hit a couple of them.
Hit that ball around, man. You gotta go.
Exactly. Absolutely.
Yes, sir.
Well, James, man, appreciate you being on the second half. Again, I thank you for sharing your story and being able to help those who are looking to transition and trying to figure out what their transition, because it's never too early to figure out what their play and their plan is for when it's time to take the shoes off for the last time. So, again, where can they follow you and keep up with you on social media?
Well, you can find me. My Instagram handle is @42JamesAnderson. So everything is central there. I try to post on there. I'm actually working on the Amazon Prime series, so a lot of the content I'm taking is reserved for the series. And once they figure out what they want to use, I'll start releasing some of that behind the scenes, some of that cool content. Man, we were at the Super Bowl at the gifting suite, and we ran into a comedian who had a show at Amazon Prime.
Okay.
But like I got the glasses on, so I'm recording everything.
Yep.
He's talking about this series and how they're, number 1 or 2 on Amazon Prime, this and the other. And my response was, "Well, you're about to be number 3 because we finna be number 2."
See, and there you go.
So after we back and forth, we couldn't run into dope. Bro,
exactly.
It was so funny because it shocked him that I came at him like that, and he was like, I was like, "Gotcha." And we got it on film, baby. That's gonna be the hit file.
Love it. There you go. Love that. The behind the scenes. We're gonna definitely tap into that for sure. For all those following, be sure to hit that like, follow, and subscribe. We out. Peace.